What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode. We're here for the final round of Season 5 of our Jaguar Racing career, and we are going to be at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now there's still a lot on the line, not in the Drivers' Championship, that was already wrapped up in Portugal after I beat Lando Norris home to P2 to claim my first Drivers' Championship. However, in the Constructors Championship, we've still got a fight on our hands. There is 11 points between the top three teams. It's currently Red Bull, followed by Mercedes, followed by us, and there is every chance in the world that if we can get a good result here in Abu Dhabi, we can still win our first Constructors Trophy in the same season that we win our first Drivers Trophy as well. We have to jig around our engine components a little bit because you can see some of them are quite worn, so we're going to go for a new MGUH. We obviously have to take a new control electronics after that mechanical failure in Las Vegas, and I'm going to go for this 65% worn gearbox. If I can avoid taking a grid penalty, that would be ideal. However, I do worry a little bit that that might cause us to get some gearbox jamming and that kind of thing. So here we go. Yeah, Constructor standings, you can see Red Bull on 455, Mercedes on 448, and us on 444. We will win on countback because as a team I'm fairly confident we've had more wins than either of the other teams. I could be wrong about that, but I've had 7 wins and I don't think any constructor has had 7 wins apart from us this season. So I believe, yes, if we tie on points with someone, we win on countback. However, I'd quite like to beat the other teams by a point at least, just to prove that I didn't fluke my way into winning it through a weird glitch in Baku that caused Max Verstappen not to score any points when he should have done, because that's where we inherited P10. We should have been P11 in that race. It was a long time ago, but I haven't forgotten. So ideally I want to win the championship by at least 1 point over whoever my closest rival is. So ideally I want to outscore Mercedes by 5 points and Red Bull by 12 points today. I'm not going to be able to do it alone though. I'm going to need Jack Doohan with me to fight on 2 fronts against these top teams. I don't think it's going to be possible either. I'm going to need probably one of us to come out with the victory, which Jack Doohan hasn't done for us all season, so feasibly it's going to be me that's going to have to fight for the victory here, and then realistically I need Jack Doohan to bag his 2nd podium of the season this season. If he can do that, then he's proven to me that he deserves to stay at the team, and we'll sign him on for Season 6. But if he can't, then we will be looking elsewhere for another teammate for Season 6. Right now, like I said, my shortlist is Verstappen, Leclerc, Gasly, Ocon, drivers who are very, very capable, but for whatever reason haven't been able to get involved in a championship fight this season. I'm going to try and stray away from signing my biggest championship rivals, Lando Norris, George Russell. Obviously Sergio Perez, I think that he's not too far away from retirement, so I'd rather not try and sign someone like that. And then, there are a few other drivers that I'm not really that keen on driving for my team. So in practice, we had decent pace, but we really need to pull out something very special in qualifying and in the race for that matter if we want to win the Constructors. Like I said, I don't foresee that Jack Doohan is going to be able to put the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons, so we are going to have to be the one flying the flag for Jaguar Racing. But, this is not a track that I've historically done amazingly well at. I don't think I've ever had a podium here. I think my best result was P4 last year when I famously got pipped to the Drivers' Championship by Lando Norris, who went on to win that race. And, we are going to try and do our best to get the best qualifying result we can. It's a 1:21.1 on our first flying lap around here, and that, you would have to say, is probably not going to be good enough to see us through to Q2. It was actually good enough for P17, so I was right in that assertion. Glad I went again on another fresh set of soft compound tyres, and we managed to find some improvement. It was a 120.2, that will comfortably be good enough to see us through in P3. So yeah, no real issues there. Definitely looking like I have the pace to maybe fight for pole position here, but I'm still going to need to find another level. I was 3/10 off of Alex Albon in P1. George Russell right up there. Encouraging to see Doohan in the mix as well. Meanwhile, Lando Norris is through, as is Sergio Perez as well. Knocked out Gasly, Hauger, Joe, De Vries, Hulkenberg and Stroll. So not too many surprises, perhaps a little bit disappointing for Hauger, who's had a bit of an up and down season, to be knocked out in Q3 in his final race. I wonder if he's trying to put himself in the shop window, shaping up for a potential move to another team. In any case, we make our way now onto the second qualifying session, and we're on our first lap of that on a used set of soft compound tyres. It's a 120.7, which is actually pretty good for a used tyre run, but I think we'll need to go again in order to get through to the next session. Actually, we would have been all right. We were P10 at the end of the session, which is good because it didn't really improve on the fresh rubber in much capacity, only by a couple of tenths. So not as good a run as in our first Q1 session, but I mean, it was good enough for P7 nonetheless, and it sees us through to Q3 where we can really try and fight for pole position. Enzo Fittipaldi going fastest there. So you may remember last video when I said, is that Enzo Fittipaldi going fastest? I was getting confused because I'd already recorded this video by that point. But here we go. This is where Enzo Fittipaldi goes fastest. Meanwhile, both Mercedes, both Red Bulls making it through. Doohan making it through, which is good. Knocked out Sainz, Ocon, Piastri, Tsunoda, Lawson and Sargent. And then the three other drivers that I didn't name were Magnussen, Verstappen and Leclerc making it through to Q3 for the shootout. So I could really use myself and Doohan doing really well, and then preferably the next best cars. I want it to be a Jaguar front row lockout, and then Magnussen, Verstappen, Leclerc, Fittipaldi, then the two Red Bulls. No, then the two Mercedes, then the two Red Bulls. That's the ideal situation here. I don't think it's going to happen. We're currently in 8th after our used rubber flying lap, and now we're on the fresh soft compound tyres. We're going to see if we can get anything higher than the position we're currently in. Hopefully challenging for pole position, but at the very least I want to be sort of in that top 3 if we can make it happen. As we cross the line, it's a 1:19.8. Is that good enough for pole? No, it's P3. But still, I said I wanted to be in and around the top 3, so I'm not too disappointed with that, and hopefully we can fight tomorrow.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Albon, Doohan and Robinson. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Doohan getting P2 there, myself in P3. Let's see if we can fight for the Constructors in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Welcome to the Yas Marina circuit for the finale of another thrilling Formula One season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a track that has been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The drivers will be racing here at Yas Marina circuit through 21 corners and a lap distance of around 3.4 miles. There are a few opportunities to pass, with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, turns 8 and 11. Plenty of close racing then, plenty of speed and plenty of drama to be found in the laps ahead. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. What a great lap from Alexander Albon yesterday. He'll start from pole position, and Jack Doohan completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Robinson, Russell, Leclerc, Perez, Norris, Verstappen, Magnussen, Fittipaldi, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, Sargent, Gasly, Hauger, Joe, De Vries, Hulkenberg, Stroll, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And Anthony Davidson joins us for this one. And great to have your company. There's no weather to worry about here. What will be going through the drivers' minds as they finish these last-minute preparations?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, mate, final day of the season. Everybody in this entire team has worked incredibly hard to give us the chance to get a good result today. I need you to do your bit and go out there and bring it home for us.
Well, we can only do our best. That's all we can do. We're going to try and work with Jack Doohan. Hopefully grab a double podium here today, even if it's not a 1-2. As long as we can get both cars on the podium, that would be the ideal scenario. Jack Doohan having one of his strongest qualifyings of the season to try and, maximise our chances here. I do feel like, maybe he has an awareness of just how important this race is for the team, and clearly he wants to keep that drive. But who knows whether he will be able to deliver on race day or not, or was his qualifying performance a bit of a flash in the pan? We will we'll find out as the grid gets lined up in their grid boxes and the lights come on. And the lights go out, and Jack Doohan has had a great getaway. Alex Albon very slow off the line there. It's going to be a 1-2 for Jaguar, but only very briefly, as George Russell dives up the inside of me and makes his way up into P2. He's keeping his championship hopes alive for Red Bull as well in the Constructors, of course. So yeah, at the moment it's Doohan from Russell from myself. Albon now trying to go up the inside of me on the run down into the hairpin, and we make a bit of contact there, but I don't think either of us got any damage from it. So yeah, it's myself, then Albon, then Perez. Meanwhile, Lando Norris is down behind quite a few cars. I think he's down in P9 at the moment, so he's going to have to try and make his way through the field quite significantly if he wants any chance of keeping Red Bull in this Constructors fight. Alex Albon doing what he can to maximise Mercedes' chances and getting back past me. So we've fallen down to P4 on the start here, actually. And as things stand, we will be scoring 37 points as a team, with Jack Doohan in P1, myself in P4. That'd be 37 points. Verstappen trying to get ahead of Sergio Perez at the moment, him pushing Perez down in P6. That means that Red Bull will be scoring 26 points. So at the moment, we will literally be scoring the minimum number of points we can score to tie with Red Bull in the championship as things stand. But if Perez can get ahead of Max Verstappen, then Red Bull will take the lead of the Constructors Championship, as it were, for the time being. But Albon, Norris, not really in the position that they would need to be in. They need to beat the Red Bulls today in with both cars. Ideally, they need one car ahead of the other in both scenarios, and at the moment both of them are behind their sort of respective challenger, I suppose you could describe them as. Verstappen keeping Perez at bay, doing a great job, and overtaking me now as well. I just don't seem to have the pace to keep up right now. I'm going to try and go for a bit of a cutback on Max Verstappen round the outside, and we have managed to get back past him, albeit probably only briefly because he will have the DRS here, and yeah, just not showcasing the pace right now to keep Max Verstappen behind. Sergio Perez going for a move around the outside as well. We do at least manage to hold him off and keep him down in P6. But as I've lost that position now, it's actually going to be Red Bull who would be winning the Constructors as things stand. So I need to make my way up the order. I can't afford to finish this low down. I am going for a bit of an undercut on strategy, as you would expect. You know, I don't think any of us are really that surprised to hear that, oh wow, the guy who talks about the undercut meta all the bloody time is going to go for an undercut. But yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully it will move me up a couple positions, and hopefully we won't lose them next time.
They seem to have an issue.
Well, that's just fan-bloody-tastic, isn't it? Jack Doohan, he gets himself into the race lead, and now he's got some kind of mechanical issue. And as a result, both Russell and Albon have overtaken him now. Max Verstappen's overtaken him. And unfortunately for Doohan, if we want to try and salvage anything in this Constructors' Championship, we have to go for a move like that, diving up the inside of him and getting up into P4 now. Jack Doohan, absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating for the Australian driver. Part of me at this point was thinking to myself, if we don't win the Constructors, I'll re-sign him anyway, because he literally would have won this race if not for that mechanical issue. What could he do, you know? Sergio Perez diving up the inside now on lap 9. We're going to try and get back past him if we can. But, you know, I've not been showcasing the best pace. But where I am fast is in a straight line, especially when we're burning the battery and we've got DRS. It's a very easy situation to try and get ahead of Sergio Perez, or so I thought. But the braking performance of the car, not amazing compared to the rest of the drivers around here. So we are going to try and defend from Sergio Perez. Meanwhile, speaking of Red Bulls, George Russell and Alex Albon battling over P1 at the moment. They are going tooth and nail for it. That's actually good for me, because it means that if they continue battling one another, there is a chance for me to catch up to these guys and maybe put my name in the mix for victory here, which would be about the only way now. The only way that we could win the Constructors' Championship here is if I can put myself in P1 somehow. I don't even know how it would be possible. The undercut is about the only way, and we're pitting in a couple of laps. I think, honestly, I would need a safety car as well. I think that's about the only way that I could foresee myself getting back in the mix here. But we will see. We've been overtaken by Perez once again, but again, with that straight line speed, I might just be able to get back past the Mexican driver and get up ahead of him. Sergio Perez continuing with Red Bull as far as I understand for next season, but maybe he'll make a late career seat switch. It seems unlikely given how late in his career he is at this point. It seems like he's just trying to see it out with Red Bull. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a retirement from him next season perhaps. And now we're coming under pressure from Lando Norris, and well, if there's one driver I'm absolutely desperate not to let stay ahead of me for very long, it is Lando Norris. Just because we've won the championship over him doesn't mean we're going to allow him to get the last laugh in the Constructors Championship. We're going to try very hard to keep him behind us if we can. Number one in his car. We remember what happened here last year, and it hurts. So I'm very, very keen to get back past him if we can. Around the outside, through the hairpin, back ahead of Lando Norris, for now at least. And we make our way onto lap 12, and you can see that he is right up our gearbox. Once again, Lando Norris in the Mercedes. He has had incredible pace at times this season. Times I haven't had an answer for him at all. At other times, I've comfortably looked like the favourite. But right now, here in Abu Dhabi, it's not one of my strongest tracks. I am fighting very, very hard just to get back ahead of him. I am fighting on a track that I am perhaps not quite as keen on. Perhaps the car doesn't suit quite as much. My driving style certainly doesn't suit as much. And to keep things even more difficult than that, as we do make our way back past Lando Norris through the chicane, but will he try and fight us back through the next DRS zone? To make things even more interesting, Jaguar as a team now is basically fighting with one hand tied behind its back. With Jack Doohan down and out, he's outside of the points, I think now, behind one of the Alfa Romeos, fighting with another Alfa Romeo to hold on to that position. He is, I think he's in about P13 or something like that. So it's not looking good for Jack Doohan at the moment. We have managed to keep Lando Norris behind up until the pit stop phase, but we've fallen quite significantly out of touch of the front three. About 8 seconds is the gap to Russell, Albon and Verstappen. So I don't know if this undercut is going to work out for us, as we get a warning for corner cutting, which I didn't really understand where I did corner cutting, but maybe I'm wrong, maybe I just missed it. And we're going to be coming in, fitting the hard compound tyres. Anyone who started on the soft should be coming in around now as well, so it's a good job that pretty much all of the people we were racing with were on the medium tyres, otherwise the undercut would kind of be neutralised. And I think it'll be 2 or 3 laps before the rest of the field pits for those hard compound tyres. So we've got to push really hard on these hard tyres. Hopefully they won't overheat quite as much as the mediums were overheating, because that was a really, really frustrating situation to find myself in, with these overheating tyres just falling me further back from the cars in front. We do get past Jack Doohan once again. This is before he's pitted, so we're now effectively a full pit stop in front of him. And well, that might be the last time we see Jack Doohan in the Jaguar colours for the rest of this series, because well, we're not going to win the Constructors. Like I said, part of me was thinking about just re-signing him anyway, but look, I can't just be like, oh well, we could have won the Constructors. The whole thing was that we needed to win the Constructors this season. Jack Doohan, he delivered 150 points for McLaren in half a season last season, and he's not even reached that number in a full season for us this year. I don't think that Jack Doohan over the course of the whole season has really warranted a contract renewal beyond the end of the season. So yeah, we're going to have to look somewhere else, I think, and you'll have to wait till next video to find out who that is going to be. But yeah, you can see as we kind of come to the position where the top 3 now have all pitted, I am quite a lot closer to them, significantly closer to them in fact, but frustratingly just outside of that DRS range that I might be able to get myself drawn into a battle with them. Max Verstappen has actually taken the lead of the race, which is, not necessarily a bad thing. If we can somehow get ourselves into the lead and catch up with Max Verstappen, if he can stay P2, that would be great for our championship chances, but I think we'd still need something a bit more than that. We need Jack Doohan in the fight. So at this point, I'm in the position I was in last season. If you watched last season, you may remember me kind of driving around in a bit of a no man's land on Abu Dhabi, waiting for a safety car to try and get me back into the fight to fight for a championship. And it didn't happen last season. Norris is now catching us as well, and it doesn't look like it's going to be happening this season either. So I think, unfortunately, we may have to settle for second best. Lando Norris on lap 23 has fully caught up with us, and now it's just time to have a bit of fun, I guess. We're going to try and have a ding-dong battle with our rival throughout the course of the season. Lando Norris has been our closest rival by far, and we're going to see if we can get the measure of him here in Abu Dhabi. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez, he's in the background as well, so there's every chance in the world that he might be able to get involved in the fight as well. Keeping an eye on the sort of championship battle with Russell in P2 and Perez in P6. That is 26 points scored for Red Bull, with Albon in P3 and Norris in P5. That would be 25 points for Mercedes, and obviously with us here in P4, that's just 12 points for us. So Mercedes need to outscore the Red Bulls by 7 points, I believe, to get themselves up into this championship fight. Meanwhile, we've been overtaken by both Perez and Norris, and it looks like Perez is actually going to go for the double overtake. If he can do this, that would almost kill off the championship here and there for Red Bull, but we have managed to somehow get back ahead of Sergio Perez, and also I think we're going to try and get back ahead of Lando Norris as well. Sergio Perez fighting back into the hairpin. We've gone quite deep, and unfortunately I think that this is going to allow Sergio Perez to get through. We tried to find our way around the outside. We ended up making a bit of contact with Sergio Perez in the meantime, but unfortunately, yes, he has made his way up into P4, and yeah, I think this all but confirms it at this point for Sergio Perez. Second and fourth for the Red Bulls, it's definitely going to be good enough, right? 18 plus 12 is 30, and contrast that with the how many would it be? 15 plus 10, 25 that Mercedes are scoring. Yeah, it's a foregone conclusion. Both of these Mercedes drivers would need to overtake the respective Red Bull drivers they're racing with. Albon would need to get ahead of Russell. Norris would need to get ahead of Perez. If he can't do that, then it's just going to be a Red Bull Constructors Championship victory, which, to be fair, would upset the apple cart quite a little bit, because I'm pretty sure Mercedes have won it every single year so far. I know that this is the first season that Mercedes haven't won the Drivers' Championship, but it would be quite the turn-up if they didn't win either championship off the back of 4 double championship winning seasons in a row. We are absolutely pocketing Lando Norris right now. He cannot find a way through. As we make our way through the corner once again, he is just going to have to he's going to have to settle for P6 maybe, and this is not the result that Lando Norris would have wanted. Make our way onto lap 26 now. Here comes Lando Norris once again with that DRS. He makes his way up ahead of us, but we brake nice and early into the chicane. We almost go into the back of him as he has a horrible run through this sequence of corners, and this is going to allow us, with the battery and the DRS, I think, to mount a challenge on him once again. Meanwhile, some of my former teammates doing very well in this race. Kevin Magnussen has got himself up into P7. Fittipaldi was in P8. You know, these guys are having pretty strong races and pretty strong seasons now they're not at the team. It does make me wonder, is it the team that's the problem? Because Doohan was having a very good season before he joined the team, and he came here, achieved nothing really. 1 podium in 23 races. It's not really good enough, as Lando Norris makes his way ahead of us once again. We're going to try and get back past him with that DRS, and I think actually we may have been marginally ahead at the DRS detection point there. Yes, we were. So Lando Norris is going to have the DRS on us this time, and is that just a little bit of a blunder from myself? I was hoping I would have had the DRS. We try and fight our way back up the inside of Lando Norris. Do we have the tyre grip to make this work? We are fractionally ahead out of the hairpin, but Lando Norris is going to slingshot past us, and I think that may be the end of this battle as Lando Norris makes his way up into P5. But yeah, Fittipaldi obviously didn't even score points for our team, I don't think. And yeah, he now is a consistent point scorer at Williams. Dennis Hauger, again, didn't really achieve anything apart from 1 point, I think, for our team in the 2 seasons he was here. And now he's an occasional podium finisher and contender in that Aston Martin. Kevin Magnussen as well. Yes, he had an alright season for us, but I definitely think he's having a better one at McLaren, although at least in that case it's only fractional. But is it just the experience of driving for this team? You know, these guys, they come in, they get massive boosts to their stats, they get, they are highly focused. Jack Doohan, most of the time throughout the season, has been 97, 98, 99 focused, so I don't really understand it. But yeah, As we make our way onto lap 29 now, it is almost certain to be a Red Bull Constructors Championship, especially now that George Russell has actually made his way into the lead of the Grand Prix. I'd be very surprised if this goes any way other than the way of Red Bull. And despite the fact that I tried my hardest, there was no safety cars to get us back into the fight. There's only so hard I can push on slightly more worn out hard compound tyres. We at least managed to stay with Lando Norris through these last couple of laps, even if we couldn't get back past him. And we are going to round the final corner and disappointingly take P6 and miss out on the Constructors title. Yes, we still won the Drivers' Championship, so we don't walk away from this season completely empty-handed. But, I mean, it would have been nice to do the double, but it just means that next season we're going to come back extra motivated, most likely with a new teammate, and we're going to fight for Constructors' glory.
It's been a roller coaster season then, but they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
So it is George Russell grabbing P2. He's in the seat that used to be occupied by the man in second place. Did I say George Russell grabbing P2? I meant P1. Verstappen grabbing P2, of course. And then Albon picking up P3. So it will be the Constructors' Championship for Red Bull. You know, they took a gamble signing George Russell, poaching him from Mercedes, and at least in the Constructors' fight, it seems to have paid off for the Red Bull team.
That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. So let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for your driver of the day?
There's a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out, I think. A really solid drive from him today, and one I'm sure the fans enjoyed.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. And it's another title in the bag for Red Bull after a long and hard-fought season. They've built an astonishing car this year, and the glory they'll be taking back to Milton Keynes is fully deserved. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, in the Constructors' fight, it is Red Bull taking home the Constructors' title, 19 points ahead of Mercedes, 40 points ahead of us, as we have a bit of a disappointing collapse in the last couple of races of the season. We just couldn't hold on to it. You know, we had that reliability issue in Las Vegas, coupled with the fact that Jack Doohan took a grid penalty, which started him all the way down in P18. Yes, he recovered to grab some points and keep the championship fight open, but then we had further reliability woes in Abu Dhabi. Honestly, I'm glad that at any point in the season we were able to get the reliability problems out done in the part of the season that didn't matter for my Drivers' Championship fight. I only had one failure this season. Okay, I've not seen this before, but they for some reason showed us a radio message in the post-race highlights. I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know if that's a glitch or what, but we were fighting for a bit of that race with a missing gear, certainly, yes. Fortunately, it was only fourth gear, so not one of the important ones. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we were able to win the Drivers' Championship before the unreliability kicked in, so that was at least something. And hopefully next season it will be a similar deal, although there will be a complete regulation overhaul. It's literally the only the aero department that is not being sort of reset. So I think we could see a bit of a shake-up in the order in the Constructors' Championship, and maybe we'll be able to fight at the front and have two cars fighting at the front, at least in the early stages of next season. You know, I want to sign a very capable teammate, somebody who's very strong and has had success in the past. I want to get a proven race winner, maybe championship winner, but certainly a race winner. I don't tend to sign existing world champions in these saves because I like to try and encourage new blood. So that's probably the That's probably the only sort of argument that I would have against signing Max Verstappen. That and that he didn't have tremendous end-of-season form. Yes, he of course did finish on the podium here in Abu Dhabi, but before that he was, pissing about in like P17 or something like that. So it's not really the form that you would hope for from the two-time world champion. And no, that's not a mistake canonically in this save. He is a two-time world champion. The 2023 season going to George Russell instead in the Mercedes, who is also a two-time world champion. And then, yeah, obviously Bottas picking it up in Season 3 in Mercedes, and then it was Lando Norris for Mercedes picking it up in Season 4. So this is the first season that Mercedes don't win that driver's title. And hopefully next season we can continue the trend of stopping them from winning the Drivers' title by winning our second Drivers' Championship. But you'll have to wait till the next video to see which driver I'm going to be fighting alongside for Constructors' Glory, and to see what the car is going to look like, what the calendar is going to look like, and all that fun stuff, because that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.